All right, guys, welcome back to the Open Shot Podcast, Episode 3. The NBA is back, baby. Today we're going to be talking about some news around the league, a recap of the season opener, and some pretty bold predictions for the upcoming season.
What it do, baby? Alright, guys, so a lot happened in the last week.
A lot.
Like some crazy extensions, a couple of news around the league. So first off, Luol Deng signed a one-day contract and he retired as a Chicago Bull.
Which he should have. That's...
I love when players do that.
Yeah, just go back to where you started, and honestly, him being on the Bulls, I just remember those days of the Heat and Bulls rivalries. That's where I remember him from. So
And even his days on the Heat.
Yeah, on the Heat. That blowout in Game 1, 2016, I remember that.
Next. So, unfortunately for us, Bradley Beal signed an extension. 2 years, $72 million max extension with the Washington Wizards. He can't get traded this year. So we're just going to have to wait and see. One also thing, if he wasn't going to sign the extension, he was going to be part of the free agent market next year than the offseason, which was actually, lacking a lot of talent.
He just wanted the shmoney, man. That's all.
Shmoney. So, Bradley Beal staying with the Warriors for at least this year.
Warriors? Or even
I'm sorry, the Wizards.
He wishes he was on the Warriors.
That would be crazy. So, Bradley Beal staying on the Wizards for at least this year. Maybe some offseason move can happen, or I don't know.
Hopefully.
So, next, as you guys saw from the season opener on Tuesday, Zion will miss 6 to 8 weeks with a torn meniscus. That's exactly what everyone's, kind of fear was. Everybody was scared that he's going to have an injury-prone career. He's too big, whatever. And, when, your knees is literally the worst thing that a guy of that size can get, a knee injury.
Yeah, and it's pretty unfortunate because we've seen this happen with guys like, Derrick Rose. And my biggest fear is he's already injury-prone and his playing style is just too explosive. So it kind of reminds me of, a Derrick Rose where, eventually that's going to catch up to him, but he's already injury prone as is. So, that's something to look out for.
It sucks. I was super excited to watch him in the season opener.
Yeah, but it was a disappointment, but nonetheless, it was a great game.
Yeah, it was, and we're going to get to that. Good news for the Raptors. Spicy P, Pascal Siakam, signed a 4-year, $130 million extension.
I love me some Pasky, bro.
Pasky. Dude, I'm happy for him. He got his money. He's not, he kind of strong-armed the Raptors a little bit. But, they obviously have a lot of faith in him. They didn't hesitate. There was no drama behind it. They sat down with him and gave him the money. 4 years, $130 million.
Well deserved.
News from our neck of the woods. The Miami Heat suspended Dion Waiters for, he's going to miss a season opener, which is happening right now as we record because we record on Wednesday nights.
Yeah.
But he might return to the team on Thursday, but there's been a lot of drama on Instagram and apparently it's revolved around his role on the team.
Which, it's kind of unfortunate because I put him as one of my most improved players of the year. And it's just a bummer because I was really looking forward to him just making a comeback season and just with this drama that he's spewing on the team, it's pretty unfortunate as a fan, and I just wish he would take the more mature route. And it's drama is not something you're really used to when it comes to the Miami Heat if you really think about it.
True, and then people are saying oh my God, is he gonna do another Hassan Whiteside thing? But I don't know. I hope not. and if anything happens, if he's not living up to the Heat culture expectations, responsibilities. Maybe they'll trade him. I don't know. We don't need. We have a lot of talent. I think, or we're good enough in the guard department. But I don't want to get rid of him.
I wouldn't want to get rid of him. I just hope that he just realizes what he's doing. But only time will tell with that.
So next up with the Pistons, Blake Griffin will be out until November with a knee and hamstring injury. So he's going to be reevaluated the first week of November. So he could possibly stay out more. That's a huge loss to the Pistons. He's their best player.
I would say he's their best player too. and it's kind of a bummer because that that Drummond and Blake Griffin combo is pretty deadly. So them missing that and for that amount of time is gonna be, I wouldn't say detrimental, but I wouldn't be too worried about it either because it's still the beginning of the season, so anything can happen.
So yeah. Next up, the Jazz. They extended Quinn Snyder's contract. Good for him. He's that's well deserved. Also, he's staying on the team. He's been there for a while, and he's obviously doing great stuff with them. And also, they extended Joe Ingles' contract, 1 year, $14 million. I think he deserves that money. He's going to be a great six man or just player off the bench. That's going to really be really going to help them out in really hard situations.
I like Joe Ingles a lot.
Me too. He's a great player. After a little bit of drama in the Kings in Sacramento, Buddy Hield signed a 4-year, $86 million extension. I hope he lives up to that money.
I mean, it was kind of unnecessary, the drama. I feel like that could have been resolved, and I feel that.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't the NFL, bro.
Yeah, like it was kind of unnecessary. Like I was, looking at interviews and stuff, and just him throwing a hissy fit about the max deal. Like, just take it, man. Like, you're on a good team. I mean, you're probably not gonna make the playoffs this year, but you guys got a bright future, and sometimes it's not all about the money. At least I don't think so.
And I mean, this is his first contract after his rookie contract, and he had a great year last year. I mean, he played almost 32 minutes a game, 20 points, shooting 45% from the field, 42% from three, 5 rebounds, 2.5 assists, 0.7 steals. I mean, he's a great player, but I don't think he had to prove or had to do any of that kind of drama to get that contract.
No, not at all. And I just feel like that's just kind of the norm these days in the NBA, where you complain about it that much, you'll get it. But like I said, I don't think any of it was necessary, and I feel like if he just would have taken what they offered him originally, he would have been fine. Like I said, he has a great looking squad in front of him, and they have a bright future. So I wouldn't even stress about that, man.
So also with the Pistons, they dropped Joe Johnson.
They did. I did not know this.
Bro.
That is quite.
They dropped Joe Johnson after he played 4 preseason games. They said they dropped him so they can focus more on younger players in development.
Wow, that's insane. I honestly thought Joe Johnson was going to be, something that he could have been a great 6-man, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I think he could still play at that level. I didn't think they were going to have him maybe at 6-man, but he was for sure going to be a good, 8th or 9th man, like kind of like the last person of the
no, for
rotation.
Sure. And I feel like he's one of those guys that, come playoff time, he could really give you a spark off the bench, and that's essentially, a veteran, piece that they could have used, and it's kind of unfortunate that they dropped him like that. But I feel like he could find another team pretty, fairly soon. If anything, it's Joe Johnson after all.
So going up to the Celtics, Jaylen Brown signed a 4-year, $115 million contract. I mean, that's a huge increase.
A huge contract, and I honestly don't think he's proved himself to earn that much. I mean,
they obviously have a lot of faith in him and the young core.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. They're showing that they have a lot of faith in this kid. He had a great first year. We all know that, what happened in the playoffs, going to 7 games against LeBron. But then after that, they kind of been a bit quiet. Well, he has, at least. And I don't know, that's kind of took me by surprise that he's getting that much.
I mean, I don't think he really deserved that much pay of it, but I don't know. I hope that they can really play well together, and I hope he's good. I think this is more of a testament to how much the Celtics are kind of like a fan of his or have faith in him.
Mm-hmm. He's
obviously gonna have to become more of a starter player, have a larger role in the offense and on the defense. I mean, last year he kind of swished and swashed between starter and bench player, and they didn't really know what to do with him. But I don't know. I mean, that much money, he for sure has to become like one of the
he has to be one of the focal points of that.
Exactly. Team. Yeah. So next up with the Spurs, DeJounte Murray. He signed a 4-year, $64 million extension.
He's a really good player. I've seen some bits and pieces of him here and there, and he fits that system really well.
Going down to the Pacers. I don't know what happened. It was kind of some weird drama, but Domantas Sabonis, he was on the trade block, but he also just signed a 4-year, $77 million extension. I saw some stuff that when he was put on the trade block, he kind of said, "Oh, now I know how the Pacers feel about me." People were saying that they don't like him in the organization, but I mean, he just got almost 20 mil a year, 4 years, 77 mil, but he's I think he's a decent player on the team, and
Yeah.
I just don't know what was happening there with the rumors. I mean, rumors can obviously be fake, but
Yeah, anything and sources,
so also with the Pacers, Victor Oladipo finally practiced on 5-on-5, but he's gonna be reevaluated in a month, so we're not gonna see him for at least another 4 months. I mean, I'm sorry, 4 weeks.
4 weeks. I mean, honestly, with this situation, I'd rather him get as much recovery as he can. He's a great player, I think, and he, Oladipo and the Pacers. I really like Oladipo on that team. So hopefully he could come back soon. But I wouldn't rush that. I would just let him take the time he needs to recover and then, get back to form.
And the Nets also extended Tarion Prince's contract, 2 years, 29 mil. He's gonna be I think he's gonna be a good. He is a good addition to the Brooklyn Nets. I mean, last year on the Hawks, he averaged 13.5 points, 3.6 rebounds, and 2.1 assists. 2 years, 29 mil. Let's round that off to 30. That's about 15 million a year. I think if he can produce these types of numbers, then I think he's kind of worth it. And I think for sure he's going to be a good role player on the team.
Yeah, I just want to clear something up. I remember back in the first episode, I meant when there was the Brooklyn Nets segment, I said Tayshaun Prince. I just wanted to admit my fuck up. I meant Taurean Prince.
So, yeah, I mean that's all the news around the league in the past week. In other news, the first 2 games were underway and they finished, dude. The Raptors won in overtime, and I mean, dude,
honestly,
the Clippers, bro.
Honestly, about that Raptors game, that was probably one of the best ways to start this new NBA season. Because it
was a great game without Zion. They played good.
No, yeah, and you have a team that's really young, and then you have a playoff veteran team, and a finals champion squaring off. And for that young core, it was really interesting to see how that chemistry was just on point. These guys were playing fast pace, and they were giving the Raptors a run for their money. And no disrespect to the Raptors, I know a lot of people are counting them out, saying, I mean, they're not going to go to the finals by any means, but people are saying that they're not going to be a playoff team, this and that. But honestly, I feel like the Raptors showed that they have that grit in them to to compete, and they won in a great fashion yesterday, I think.
Bro, my kind of evaluation of it was, so you're getting the NBA Finals. I mean, well, the current NBA champions. You're putting them against a rebuilt, super young, inexperienced New Orleans Pelicans team, and they went into overtime and they only won by 8 points.
Yeah.
So the thing that I'm kind of having trouble evaluating is, okay, does this mean that the Pelicans are really good, that they're matching up with the Raptors, they're going up to them? Or does that mean that the Raptors aren't as good as people think because they lost Kawhi? They're kind of going down the momentum from last year, so they went down closer to the Pelicans level.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that the Pelicans played really well, but I still think it was kind of more of an optical illusion where it's the case that the Raptors fell off.
Yeah, I get what you mean by that. But how I see it, to your point, I see this Raptors team, and they were down by double digits pretty early on, and they came back and just
they're NBA champions. They shouldn't have been. You know what I mean?
No, I get what you mean. And then just they did show that, we were talking about this earlier, yesterday, how you got a team where it's a veteran team, and you have a team that is really young, but they can play well together. And I feel like it was a test of what's better, the chemistry, the youngness, or just that veteran leadership, and what won them that game. And even though they shouldn't have been trailing against the Pelicans team that young, they did come out with that experience that they've had from the playoffs and just those clutch shots, and that's what won them the game. So that's kind of what shows after what I took from it.
What I took from it was Lonzo Ball is a great playmaker. I mean, he was doing
yeah.
some crazy passes that were insane, and I loved how he was playmaking everything.
Mm-hmm.
2, JJ Redick, what? I mean, he shot 66% from field goal because he took only 3-point shots. He was 66% from 3, 4 out of 6 threes. He's going to be an amazing addition, obviously, to the team. Brandon Ingram
He
balled out. 22 points on 42% shooting and 40% three-pointer. I mean, he was amazing. He was all over the floor. He also got 5 rebounds and 5 assists, along with a steal and 2 blocks.
Is it just me? But when I was watching Brandon Ingram last night, I saw flashes of Kevin Durant. Is that weird to say? Like his movement and everything.
I could see that, bro.
Yeah, like he was playing just like KD, and I know I've heard that comparison before.
I mean, if he can get a shot,
Oh,
like
sure.
a better shot, like a shot like KD, which is almost near impossible. But I mean, if you can do that,
And Brandon Ingram still has so much room to grow, and so does Lonzo Ball. And these guys are showing that a couple years into the league, this is what they can be doing, and it's pretty exciting to see. And wait till when Zion does come back, it's gonna be awesome to see that connection between Lonzo Ball and him.
and one person that like before the podcast, like we started recording it, that you mentioned to me that I really didn't notice was that Melly kid.
Yeah, he was
14 points, 71% from field goal, and 80% from 3-point range.
He has a wet shot. I was telling you, man. I was watching that game. I'm like, damn. Like, I really appreciated what he brought to the table, and he can be, like a backup for Redick, or they can, it gives them that extra shooting touch.
Yeah, and I mean, in terms of like the plus and minus stat, he was tied for the highest along with Kenrich Williams with plus 11. I mean, nobody in the starting lineup for the Pelicans had a positive plus and minus, but I mean, he obviously shot the lights out. And just looking at the stats in general, I mean, I watched the game, but I don't know, maybe just because he's a no name person. I was just like, oh yeah, like that guy's.
No, I noticed this guy the moment the game started. He really gave it to the Raptors, man.
And I mean, on the Toronto side, Kyle Lowry was playing great. Pascal Siakam and Van Vliet. Holy shit, dude.
No, dude. Pascal Siakam, look, regardless, he fouled out. He's still really young. They're pretty rusty. They're coming off of a championship. They got that championship hangover. I was watching this game. It was a bit of a slow start for him, but once it got nitty and gritty, he stepped up. And like I said, he fouled out, unfortunately, but that's when Van Vliet came in, and so did Kyle Lowry, and they just started throwing up haymakers and just clutch shots left and right. It was such a phenomenal performance by them.
Man, I mean, Pascal Siakam, 34 points, 42% shooting, 40% from 3. He had, holy shit, I didn't even notice this. I'm seeing the stats for the first time right now. 18 fucking rebounds, bro.
Yeah, he was balling out.
Holy, dude, 34 points, 18 rebounds, 5 assists, and a block.
And you have him for most improved player this year.
Bro, I mean, if he could stay like that, there's no fucking doubt. Van Vliet, I hate saying his name, dude. Van Yeet, 34 points, 66.7% shooting, and 71% from the 3-point range. I mean, I know it's we're hyping these guys up. It's the season opener, but
it's still a good game.
It was a great game regardless.
You got to just give props where props are due, and it was kind of a little insider for Heat fans, but he pulled that Mario Chalmers in the corner. He had that one like Mario Chalmers 3. Paid homage to the homie,
bro, to the GOAT. He also got 5 rebounds, 7 assists, and 2 steals. Yeah. I mean, he lit it up
for sure.
Kyle Lowry got a lot of points, 22 points, but he shot 26% and 27% from the 3. He has to be more consistent. He's the leader of the team. He's the face of the franchise. Not the face, but he's for sure the team captain. I mean, he's been there the longest.
Yeah, and honestly, I could see him becoming the team captain once Lowry's out of the picture, because he's reaching
Siakam.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So Siakam can, he's gonna, if he stays with them for that long, and nothing happens, I see him being the face of the franchise.
He's locked in for another 4 years unless
they go. Everyone loves Spicy P, man. Everyone in Toronto gives this kid so much love, and he deserves it.
So Lowry wasn't consistent. 22 points, 26% shooting, 27% from the 3. he got 5 rebounds and 6 assists. He was helping out offensively, 2 steals. He was good defensively. But I mean, like I said, he really has to prove that he's a leader and that he's the captain of the team. He has to shoot more consistent like that. He's lucky that he has, Siakam and Van Vliet there to help him out.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, there's a reason that Pascal Siakam has 6 offensive rebounds.
Of course.
But I mean, they didn't go very deep with their team. They had their 5 starters, 3 people on the bench: Ibaka, Powell, and Terrence Davis. All 3 of them played. They all played pretty decently. Norman Powell and Terrence Davis have to be better offensively. Offensively. I don't even know how to say that. They have to be better offensively, more consistent on the offense.
Yeah,
that's what.
They have to be, I'm proud of you, man.
They have to be more consistent on the offense, and but I mean, they ended up with the W, 130-122. But let's go back to it. The Pelicans, I think the Pelicans played great, and I think this also proves that they're going to be an amazing team. Now, yeah, I understand that the Raptors, lost Kawhi Leonard, their star player, the reason that they went to the finals, and the Pelicans lacked their rookie, but that should prove how good they are. I mean, they lost the number 1 pick in the draft, who is destined to be a complete, king in the league. And the Raptors, the reigning NBA champions, come in at home, season opener, first game anybody sees of the regular season, and they almost get their ass handed to them by a couple of, new 20-year-olds.
Yeah, no, and everyone on that team is super young. And I'm just really excited to see where the Pelicans go moving forward. And that's the team that I'm going to be watching, for years to come if they could keep this core and everything, works the way it's supposed to. This team is, the sky's the limit for these guys, and they prove that they're ready to take on a challenge. And, I love their coach, and the team's going to be awesome to watch.
So let's move on to the 10:30 game from the season opener.
Yeah, it was
the
a bit
battle of the neighborhood, bro. Lakers versus Clippers.
Wait, so before we even get into the sets, can you believe LeBron said that he doesn't consider this a rivalry? That's bullshit.
I think that's part of the rivalry. I think he's just trying to get under I think it's he's saying to people that, the Clippers mean so little that it's not even considered a rivalry, which is obviously bullshit. I'm pretty sure he wakes up at night and he's like,
he thinks about Kawhi. He thinks about Kawhi Leonard laughing.
Literally, dude. It's for sure a rivalry, and I love it. I want it to be a rivalry.
And I sent James a GIF last night. We were watching the game of Goku and Cooler. If you watch Dragon Ball Z, you'll understand. Just going ham, and that's exactly what the first half of this game felt like. It was just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and it was just such a treat to watch. And living on the East Coast, it was kind of a bitch to stay up for this game, but wow, what a treat. First and foremost, man, Kawhi Leonard, we gotta talk about him.
Man, Kawhi Leonard, a boy of mine at work told me Kawhi Leonard's the closest thing we've seen to Kobe Bryant in terms of play style, and I was like, holy shit, dude, I think so. I mean, this is all my boy from work, but he was saying how, and I didn't notice it until he mentioned it to me today. He said that Kawhi Leonard's able to bring down the pace of the game to whatever he wants, and that's 100% true, which is insane. Who else was able to do that?
No, yeah, and he for sure he can do that, because we saw. Well, I kind of don't want to talk about this because this kind of has to do with one of my my segments later on. But he knows how to control his body. He knows how to play at a tempo, even if he's hurt. He knows how to maintain just that flow, and it's really smooth, and just how he plays is just amazing. And he proved yesterday that I'm the reigning Finals MVP. So come at me, LeBron. Let's do this.
I mean, he completely owns. I mean, he owns the NBA right now. He's the face of the franchise. He's the best player in the league right now, and I mean, obviously, that's debatable between Giannis Antetokounmpo and everybody. Yeah. But I mean, he knows how to play basketball for sure. This is his bread and butter.
He's a genius. When it comes to basketball IQ, and I don't know what more this guy can prove. He doesn't talk shit. He just does it. And everyone says, oh, well, Kawhi got lucky because, the Warriors got injured. Everyone forgets that Kawhi Leonard, at a very young age, stopped a prime LeBron with the Heat.
Yeah.
And he's in his prime right now. And the thing is, I guess people give him shit because he's not a loudmouth. He just lets his do the talking, and he's about it. And that's what I love about Kawhi Leonard, honestly.
I mean, he was only in the league for 3 years, and he won Finals MVP.
Who can do that?
I mean,
and on top of that, who can go to a brand new organization, learn their system, learn everything in 1 year? I don't care about injuries. I don't care about any of that. He still managed to take a Toronto team, a struggling Toronto team who's never seen the finals before prior to Kawhi Leonard coming, and does what Kawhi does. And injured, by the way, because he was not 100% during the playoffs. I don't give a shit what anyone says. He wasn't his full self, and he managed to do all of this.
And, I mean, even that year that he won Finals MVP against LeBron, he only averaged 14 points, 6.7 rebounds, 1.7 assists, 1.7 steals, and 0.6 blocks. He won it 100% just because of his defense.
No, yeah.
As a third-year player, stopping the greatest player to ever play the game.
No, yeah, and there's just so much room, despite, his injuries in the past and just his management that he has to go from a year-to-year basis. And my first thought was, what are the Lakers going to do when Paul George comes back?
Exactly, yeah, which is insane.
Like
Paul George didn't play. Paul George is going to be out for at least the first 10 games of the season.
Yeah, and Lou Will played awesome. Lou Will played great. His shot was wet. Patrick, Beverly played, he had 2 points, but just his defense made such a difference.
It did. I mean, that's one thing I hate about stats where box stats where you can't see the real defensive impact on the game. But I mean, Patrick Beverly and Lou Will are obviously always going to be those guys for the team, and they're amazing, consistent players. One thing that I love is that Kawhi Leonard, bro. I mean, 30 points, dude. I mean, let's just read a stat line from the game: 30 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals, 1 block. Amazing. I mean, 52% shooting. He didn't shoot good from the 3. It was only 1 out of 5, 20%. But I mean, he's a lights out shooter, and I mean, also Landry Shamet.
Yeah, I like him a lot, man.
I like him too. I mean, I think he needs to be able to score a little bit more. I mean, I know that Lou Will is kind of is probably going to be the second scorer right now with Paul George gone.
I believe it's Shamet's second year. So I mean, even for a second year player, he still has a lot of room.
Yeah, I mean, he had a decent stat line: 8 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists. He played decently, he held his own, and this is a new season, so yeah. Just in general, I mean, just look at the bench: Montrezl Harrell, Lou Will, JaMychal Green, and Maurice Harkless. Montrezl Harrell got 17 and 7 with a block. Lou Will got 21 on 57% shooting. JaMychal Green got 12 points on 50% shooting, 57% from the 3, had 6 rebounds. And Maurice Harkless had 10 points on 57% shooting with 4 rebounds. And 4 steals. And 2 blocks.
And I didn't mention this earlier, but Patrick Beverly, although he scored 2 points, 10 rebounds. Crazy.
He's an amazing player. He's a point guard, and he's one of the best defensive players in the league that can rebound. He's obviously not one of the best rebounders in the league, but being a point guard, being able to rebound like that, being able to defend like that.
I feel like Patrick Beverly is like a Lance Stevenson on steroids.
Yeah, for sure. I'm way better at basketball.
He don't play guitar, but he will get in your skin, man.
Bro, he has that really grit and grind. He doesn't give a fuck. He curses at you and shit, and he pushes you, and he doesn't care. He gets in your face. He's that guy that when you go to the park and you see him there, you're like, fuck, this annoying ass kid is there.
Imagine, I just thought about this. Imagine a Patrick Beverly and a Jimmy Butler combo.
That would be gross.
It would be grimy.
We should get Patrick Beverly in the Heat.
All right, so let's talk about the Los Angeles Lakers. So what do you want to say about these guys?
I mean, Anthony Davis said, we're going to play defense. LeBron James wants us to play defense. They did it. They played an amazing defense, at least in the first half. I mean, they were all over the glass. They were all over the paint in the first half, and they played an amazing game defensively. Yeah,
and a lot of people are giving LeBron James shit for only scoring 18 points. Honestly, I wouldn't. I'm not really too worried about that. Mind you, he's
37% shooting, 20% from 3.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really too worried about it, and I probably sound like a bronsexual right now, but it's the first game of him playing in how long?
I mean, his first offseason in 16 years. Well, not 16, but I think 14 years or something.
It's the first game, and I feel like the next game he'll have something to prove. But Anthony Davis played really great. His hustle in that first half was just great.
I love watching Anthony Davis play.
Yeah, he was gross. And Danny Green, get this man some help,
bro. Danny, holy shit, dude! 28 points, 71% shooting, 77% from the three.
He was
and 7 rebounds.
No,
and 2 steals.
Danny Green was the reason why this
and a block.
No, and Danny Green was the reason why this wasn't a blowout. Honestly, he kept them in the game. So
I mean, I guess this is kind of proving that, LeBron James does know how to build a team. I mean, he knows that when he's struggling, he has someone to kick it out. So I mean, he always has that spot up shooter, that catch and shoot 3-point player. Whether on the Heat it was James Jones, whether on the Cleveland Cavaliers it was J.R. Smith.
I think this is the best one he's had.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and even like just league knowing like league names. I mean, Danny Green is he's one of the best 3-point shooters in the league.
Yeah, and Dwight Howard just disappointed me.
I mean, Dwight Howard, bro, 3 points, 33% shooting. He was 100% from 3, which is good for a big man, especially for a guy with his reputation. But, I mean, he did get 6 rebounds and a block and only playing 19 minutes. It's, I don't know, I think, for example, LeBron James's bad performance is something that can qualify for, it's only one game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say the same for Dwight Howard. You know what I mean? It's just everything. This always happens with super teams and things like that. But I felt like the Clippers played so much better together than the Lakers did.
Well, if you really
and they're a newer team.
Yeah, if you really think about it, the Clippers kind of have somewhat of the same squad of last year. So these guys, they know how to play with each other.
Where LeBron James literally, I mean, who's new on this team? Dwight Howard, Anthony Davis, Danny Green, Avery Bradley.
Everyone.
Yeah,
and I don't know, and I guess a part of Dwight Howard not playing too well, maybe, do you think that he was nervous playing in front of those Lakers fans again? I mean, I know he played in preseason, but like as an actual game, a game of this, this hyped up.
He did look confident. He did look like confident, and he was having fun. He was being like explosive. So I don't think he was nervous. I just think maybe just wasn't his game. But I don't have a ton of faith in Dwight Howard. I think he'll be good, and he'll be good for the role that he's in. But I don't know. I mean, JaVale McGee also only got 4 points. Also, they played around the same minutes. JaVale McGee actually started the game and played less minutes than he did, but 4 points, 66% shooting, only 2 rebounds, but he got 2 blocks. JaVale McGee needs to amp up his numbers because I think that the Lakers throughout the season, if they continue to both play at the same level, they're probably going to switch between starting one and the other, and that's going to be inconsistent. And I'm pretty sure LeBron's not going to like that.
Yeah, I get you. Well, that's that.
Yeah, that's that. I mean, it was a great game. I mean, the season opener, I was really bummed out that Zion Williamson wasn't going to play, but it turned out to be an amazing game. And the first day of the NBA, we got to see the battle of the hood, Lakers and Clippers.
Yeah, I was bummed out about Zion, but honestly, for him not being a part of the game, it was still a great treat to watch in terms of a quality basketball game. And for the LA Clippers and LA Lakers game, like I said, it felt like an episode of Dragon Ball Z where they're just going at it and not nonstop, really, just nonstop.
I'm going to stop the podcast really quick because apparently Derrick Jones Jr. just did a monster dunk on Jonas Valanciunas.
Oh my. And honestly, he deserves that for breaking my heart in 2016.
Damn, we're watching an ad right now.
An ad. Oh, and when you were talking about the Lakers, the Bulls caught up with Charlotte. Oh man.
That was gross.
Jesus.
So we're watching Derrick Jones just dunk all over Jonas Valanciunas in the Miami Heat versus Grizzlies game right now.
That we can't watch because NBA League Pass.
At least we can watch the highlight.
Oh,
ooh, damn, bro, that was gross.
And just for the record, change that policy if I can't watch my own team on NBA League Pass. It's kind of lame.
That's annoying, yeah.
Yeah.
So let's get to the bold predictions. By the time that this podcast uploads, it's going to upload on Thursday morning because we record on Wednesday nights. But with our bold predictions, we're actually going to drop 2 blog articles on our website for Western and Eastern Conference bold predictions. We each give three good. Well, I give three great storylines and predictions for the East, and three bad storylines and predictions for the East.
And pretty much I'm gonna do storylines for the West. That's pretty much my bread and butter.
Same concept, yeah. So, the way that we're dividing it up, at least for this season, is that I'm gonna be in charge of the Eastern Conference news and stats and highlights and everything, and Slim's and Jay's gonna be.
Yeah, you can call me Slim. So yeah, by the way, my other nickname is Slim. I have multiple names, so he'll probably say that.
Yeah, so Slim's gonna be in charge of the Western Conference. So,
and for the record, it's all opinion based. So don't get butthurt. I don't deal with that.
So we're each gonna give a good and bad prediction for our conference this year. And if you guys want to look at it more in depth, see our more in depth analysis, and see our other predictions, head over to theopenshot.com. We're gonna have the blog up already. So let's get started.
All right. So I'm gonna start off with some pretty.
Let's do you do your good one, I do my good one, then you do the bad one, I do my bad one.
Okay. So for sure. So my good scenario, one of my good scenarios, the one I'm going to talk about is the Oklahoma City Thunder are going to make the playoffs this year.
I don't think so. But where though? Do you
AFC.
like AC? Okay.
AFC.
Like I think for sure they have that chance.
Yeah.
I hope they do. Like, I mean, Chris Paul is going to be great.
Yeah. The reason why it was really hard coming up with just these storylines in general because so much could happen in this season. But the reason why I think they can make the playoffs is I still think Chris Paul, he's not elite. I wouldn't call him an elite player, but he's still a great player, I think. And I know him and James Harden kind of butted heads toward the end of that team. But we got to realize this is the first time that Chris Paul has, his own team, I would say. He's going to be the primary ball handler. And he has guys like Gallinari and Steven Adams and just these really great players. And, they're not a super team by any chance, but that grittiness and that just grit and grind that Chris Paul plays with, and with the grit and grind that Steven Adams brings to the table, and just that team, I feel like they could be a sleeper team in the West, honestly.
I think so too. I mean, they have great talent on the team. Gilgeous-Alexander has a lot of potential. And I hope I know during the offseason Steven Adams was saying some stuff about maybe not staying on the team, but I love Steven Adams too, and he's gonna be, Chris Paul with Steven Adams is gonna be a really good combo also. And
I feel like Chris Paul this season can average 20 and 15, honestly.
I hope he can. I hope he does. I know he can. I know he has the ability to, but I hope he does.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I feel like I said, this is the first time where he has his own team, so I'm really confident saying that he can be that, next chapter for OKC, even if that's not where he wants to be.
All right, bro. So my bold prediction, and I'm going 100% in on it, an Eastern Conference team will win the NBA title this year.
That's not, it's bold,
it's
but
bold.
It's not too bold.
It's not too bold, but everyone for sure has Lakers, Clippers, and Rockets as their number one picks. I think the Bucks and the 76ers will surprise everybody. I think they're going to go into this finals. They're going to whoop ass. I think that because of the team dynamic that they have in terms of the 76ers and the Bucks, they're both teams that have built themselves over the years. Trust the process took years. We were still in high school when Trust the Process was happening.
Yeah, imagine that.
New Orleans Noel was part of Trust the Process. How long ago was that?
And now he's on OKC.
Yeah, literally. I think Joel Embiid is obviously an MVP caliber player. I think he's an NBA caliber player.
Yeah.
I think that Ben Simmons, will he get a shot? I don't know. I hope he does. But if he doesn't, I don't have a lot of faith in him getting the shot. But he's still he's still a threat. He was Rookie of the Year. He's one of the top he was listed. He came in as a small forward, but now he's really playing like point guard and guard. But he's one of the better players in the league, obviously, and their whole team, their whole dynamic is amazing, and they've really stuck together generally during the offseason.
Yeah, and they're gonna have the MVP in Joel Embiid, so it's okay.
And going to the Bucks, Giannis Antetokounmpo, obviously, he's last year's MVP. I think he's going to be obviously winning or runner-up for MVP and Defensive Player of the Year this year. I think he's going to do an amazing year. He's going to have an amazing year. Chris Middleton, the Lopez twins, they're all going to be amazing factors in the team, and they have a really solid team, and they've all also kind of grown together. I mean, Chris Middleton and Giannis Antetokounmpo have been together for a really long time. And that's something that the Clippers, Lakers, and Rockets all lack. Even though the Rockets have a team that was kind of generally together and they didn't have to give up too much to bring in Russell Westbrook, LeBron James changed the entire dynamic of the Lakers team. He changed the entire roster, and Kawhi Leonard brought in Paul George into the Clippers, and even though they do also kind of have a general team, it's really big pieces that are in there and missing, or that are being replaced and that are coming in. And I think that when you have that much talent on teams, it's really hard for them to kind of go through the playoffs, because I think in the playoffs it all depends on your bench players, your starters' performance, and if you're kind of a Swiss Army knife, if you're very well rounded as a player. Players that are only one way players, they can't make it in the finals, and I just don't think that they have that many two-way players on the team that can really compare to the defense and the offensive consistency of the Bucks and the 76ers.
No, yeah, I could see where you're coming from, and in terms of that, but I honestly do think that chemistry beats superstardom any day of the week, and Golden State proved that in 2015 when they won their first title. They were one of the first teams to kind of establish that, yeah, we don't have all these stars. It's a team that built everything together, and it's crazy because it was a West team at the time, and now all the West teams are the ones that have all the stars. And I feel like just having those group of guys, they're ready to be in the finals, and they kind of already know each other, so they don't really have to go into a season and learn new things where they just kind of focus and improve on what they already know.
And also, like, let's say the Jazz and the Nuggets miraculously make it to the finals, which I think they have the talent to. I just think they're all generally too young also. I think the Bucks and the 76ers have the perfect mixture of young talented players, veteran experience, superstars, and they have the minutes to allocate them.
Yeah.
So, your bad storyline for the West, what do you got? Oh, no.
So, I mean, I have one of them is, well, they're all pretty reasonable if you really think about it, with the logical aspect. My storylines that I wrote that are bad for the West are just ones that you don't want to hear, but they have to be said. The one I'm going to go with is injuries can hold back the Clippers from reaching the finals.
Do you think they will? I mean, do you think that, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, do you think Kawhi Leonard can stay healthy all year? Do you think that Paul George can stay healthy? Because, I mean, he's already out for the first 10 games. Do you think he can?
That's the thing. It's like, I know Kawhi Leonard can pace himself. I know he knows how to do that and moderate his body. Paul George has proven that, even though he gets injured, he could still put up 20, 25 points a game. But my thing is, my biggest concern, I guess you can say, is them getting injured at a pivotal moment in the season. That's something that's inevitable. I mean, with any team, and it sucks to say because I have the Clippers. I mean, I locked them in last episode, but if I'm thinking about it realistically, like, these guys have injury history. Kawhi Leonard has been injured since he was on the Spurs, and even when he was on the Raptors, we could see flashes of him not being his true self. And then Paul George, I mean, he had a great MVP, runner-up season, and he got injured, and he still put up great numbers in the playoffs, but he wasn't 100%. So that's just something that I'm kind of looking at and saying it's questionable. Can Doc Rivers manage these guys? Can, if they were to ever go out, can this this core of Lou Will, Patrick Bev, can these guys, can they kind of keep that momentum going for this team? And that's something that we have yet to see. I mean, I know that they could win. They did it last year, but they did lose some pieces. And, when you lose your two biggest stars, if that were to happen, then that's losing games. And especially in the West, it's a tight competition all the time. So if it happens in a pivotal point in the season, that could be detrimental. And maybe that could cause them not to be in the finals this year.
I agree, bro. I think if they just lose one of their key players, like, I mean, if they lose either Beverly, Kawhi, George, or Lou Will, maybe even Montrezl Harrell, they're gonna go down unless they make a big, free agent move where I don't know. I mean, there's nobody that can replace any of them. But if maybe they get a sleeper guy,
Yeah.
I mean but that's really far off.
Yeah, and if you really think about it, when Kawhi went to the Raptors were still winning games because these guys have been together for how long? It's different. You know, these guys have seen the conference finals. These guys have made deep playoff runs. The Clippers, not so much. These guys don't really, don't know how to get to that point. At least I don't think so. So it's a lot different when Kawhi goes down with the Toronto Raptors, where they can kind of hold their ground in the East, rather than, Kawhi goes down, or Paul George goes down. It's gonna be tough, especially with the power shift in the West this season.
I agree, bro. So my bad storyline. They're gonna do good this year.
Yeah,
for sure. The team I'm talking about.
Okay.
They're gonna do good, but their decisions financially are going to bite them in the ass. The Boston Celtics. Now, I'm going to talk about Gordon Hayward and Jaylen Brown. One of these guys deserved this contract. Gordon Hayward did deserve his contract when he signed it.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, he was he was an amazing player. He went down literally game one. How many minutes into the game? I think it was literally fucking 5 minutes or something.
Yeah.
Like, it was super early on. He what was it? He broke his leg, right, or his ankle.
It was ankle. He freaking
destroyed that,
ankle.
And he was out, and he just kind of hasn't been the same. Gordon Hayward is gonna get $32.7 million this year. $32.7 million. Last year, he only averaged 11 points, 4.5 rebounds, and 3.4 assists. These are all under his career average, except for the rebounds, which is only 0.3 rebounds higher. He got 0.9 steals, which is 0.1 under his career average. And then he got 0.3 blocks, which is 0.1 under his career average. That is not, 11, 4.5, and 3 is not a $32.7 million a year player.
Yeah. It's really not. But at the end of the day, did they know that he was going to get injured?
No, but I think even though $32 million is a lot of money, he did average when he got offered the contract 21.9, 3.5. I'm sorry, 5.4 assists and 5.4 rebounds and 3.5 assists. They were hoping he was going to continue blossoming. He was only 26 at the time, but 27, 28. He's getting a little bit older. He did get injured. I just think it wasn't a bad move by the Celtics, but it was kind of like what you were saying about the Clippers, that it's something that if it happens, you can't stop it. You know what I mean? It's just something that honestly just sucks. But
no, yeah, and I honestly feel that if Gordon Hayward never got injured and Kyrie never got injured, they could have beat the Cavs and gone to the finals that year. I think so.
What could have been. But one thing that I do hate about that the Celtics did, giving Jaylen Brown this type of money. He's gonna make $22.9 million, so he's basically gonna make $23 million next year. This year, he's only making $6.5 million.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's really gonna use this year to show the Celtics organization and to show fans and people, people like me that don't have that much faith in him, like, I am worth, that $23 million in 2020, $24.8 million in 2021, $26.6 million in 2022, and $28.5 million in 2023. He's locked in for the next this season and for 4 seasons after. Can he perform? I don't think so. I don't think he's going to perform to that level. And if they're giving up this much money for Jaylen Brown, just imagine how much Jason Tatum is going to get paid.
Yeah.
Jason Tatum's the number one guy on the team, but I think also just giving up that much money to this guy that might not produce as well as people might think, that's really going to hurt them in free agency. They're also paying a ton of money for Kemba Walker. He's going to perform the way he is, but I just think those two contract deals are really going to bite them in the ass in the end. Now, the reason this is a bad storyline, it's kind of retro. Seeing in retrospect is hindsight is 2020.
Yeah.
Look at the team they used to have back in the day. Marcus Smart, Isaiah Thomas, these young players that they have on the team now, but at their core, being rookies, a lot of potential, so many draft picks, but they threw them away for Kyrie Irving and Gordon Hayward. Kyrie Irving isn't gonna.
He's gone.
He's gone. They're not getting anything from that. I mean, they have Kemba Walker, but I mean,
He's not Kyrie.
He isn't Kyrie. He is kind of close in terms of talent, but I mean, you gave up first round draft picks for that.
Which
You know, all you
is-
did was get a superstar. He left. You lost a ton of potential, NBA players that are going to be amazing in the league, and you got in Kemba Walker. Not to give any hate to Kemba Walker, but he's not Kawhi Leonard. He's not a superstar. He is a star,
But he's not
not
that,
a superstar.
Like I would pretty much consider him like a CJ McCollum.
So my problem is really in those in those decisions of you got rid of these. First of all, you got rid of Isaiah Thomas. Fuck you.
Yeah, that
That year he goes in the playoffs. His sister dies next day. Drops how many points? 30 something.
he played his heart out.
He
when
was
he shouldn't
gross.
even he shouldn't have
He
been
shouldn't
there.
even. Yeah, he had every right. If he would have said I can't show for personal reasons, nobody would have given him any heat for it.
No, yeah, and
And-
he loved that city.
He loved that. That was his team, and
He had an MVP season there.
literally. And I've always been salty about them letting him go, but they got Kyrie. Whatever.
But then Kyrie,
But Kyrie
fucked them
left.
over.
They fucked him over. Gordon Hayward got injured. These are things that are, I mean, if it would have happened to us in 2010 when we got LeBron James, Dwayne Wade. I mean, Dwayne Wade stayed here, but Chris Bosh would have gotten injured. The entire operation would have gone to shit. If LeBron James or Dwayne Wade.
You can never break the Heat culture, man. I don't care what anyone says.
But I mean, if they would have gotten injured, they wouldn't have won. They wouldn't have had the same, legacy and dynasty that they had. And it's kind of you deserve it because you're trying to make the super team, and you got fucked over. Same with the Celtics. I mean, they dropped a guy that gave his heart and soul to the team. They got rid of a couple of key young players. They kept really important ones in Marcus Smart. But I mean, just the fact that they kind of went from that young finals potential team. I mean, they made it to the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Just imagine they would have stuck together. I mean, I know that Isaiah Thomas got injured and stuff like that, and his play has kind of declined, but a lot of it was just him bouncing around the league also.
Yeah.
But I mean, having those financial decisions of paying Jaylen Brown this much money and Gordon Hayward, I mean, I think it's really gonna bite them in the ass in the end of the season, and I mean, it's gonna be really tough for them to kind of recoup from the financial losses and kind of really what could have been.
Yeah, and I guess I'll play optimist here, but I don't do you think? I know it's supposed to be a bad storyline segment, but do you think Jaylen Brown getting this money? Do you think that can motivate him?
I hope so. I mean, I don't think Jaylen Brown will perform to 23, 25, 27, 29 mil a year potential, but I do think he's going to become, obviously when you get paid that amount of money, the Celtics are going to throw you into the fire. They're going to make sure that they're going to get they're going to get their money's worth for it. So he's for sure going to have a bigger role. He's going to have more offensive opportunities. He's going to have more defensive opportunities. He's going to have more minutes. He's going to be a more crucial player on the team. And I think his role is going to be really defined this year. And like I said, I think that $6 million a year, or the $6.5 million a year that he's getting paid this year, it's kind of like a leeway for the Celtics where they can have him here, they can see what he's capable of, and then maybe next offseason, who knows, maybe they'll trade him away because it's a bad contract. Or maybe they'll blow up the team again. Maybe they want to get rid of Gordon Hayward, kind of like how the whole Chandler Parsons situation. I think Chandler Parsons is still in his last year of his shitty contract.
Yeah.
He hasn't done anything in the league in the past couple of years. What if Gordon Hayward becomes that type of player? I hope not.
I hope not either, but I mean, it's a possibility.
It's a possibility if maybe like a team like the Suns or the Wizards or the Hornets are willing to take on that huge contract for Gordon Hayward. Or Jaylen Brown. I think they can, if Jaylen Brown proves that he's not worth the contract, I think a young team like that can, or a really low-seeded team like that is more than willing to take on that contract. Now the question is, will the Celtics get a good deal for it? Will it work out in the end? I don't know. That's what I'm kind of pessimistic about.
Yeah, and you have all the right to be.
Alright guys, that's it for this week's episode. Thank you so much for listening. If you guys want to hear the rest of our bold predictions for the 2020 NBA season, go ahead over to theopenshot.com. Find our blog article. We have 6 topics on the East and on the West, 3 good and 3 bad storylines. If you listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, SoundCloud, make sure to like and subscribe to get our weekly updates. We drop every Thursday morning. And if you guys liked the episode, you guys liked what you heard, leave us 5 stars, leave a review, share us on social media on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, anywhere you like. We'll really appreciate it. Stay tuned for next week's episode.